If you're hearing this, it means I broke the first rule of my vocation. Do no harm. But secrets demand blood, and someone had to tell the truth before the bodies piled up. I am. You were never meant to be here. Not in this dress, not under these lights. But Ava begged, practically shoved you into the red silk like it was armor. You hadn't been on a date in 2 years. Definitely not a blind one. Come on, girl. Ava grinned like a devil with a press pass. He's different. Wears a real watch. Can spell vocation. Wear red. Vamps, I mean. Men love red. You should have known it wasn't just wine in that lounge air. Something clung to your skin the minute you walked in. Like silk. Like static. Like the breath right before lightning. His name was Lucien Vale. Pale, poised, accented like he drank his vowels in burgundy and bled consonants onto silk napkins. And his eyes? They had seen the First War and never picked a side. You spend your nights delivering life, he said, voice velveted with ruin. And yet, you carry death on your skin like perfume. You laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was accurate. That's one hell of a pickup line. Not a line, he murmured, gaze burning through wineglass shadows. A warning. I am. You woke in his bed, rain tapping the windows like a ticking clock you didn't set. No note, just a ring. Silver. With a ruby that throbbed like it had a pulse. You touched it once. It burned. You left it on the pillow. 2 weeks later, you were pregnant. I am. Ava nearly dropped her coffee. Say that again. You did. Slowly. And the tremor in your voice made her eyes dart to the door. I haven't been with anyone else, you whispered. And something's wrong. I can't sleep. I can't eat. And yesterday, I smelled blood and you swallowed. The rest stuck in your throat like a needle. Okay, Ava tried to laugh. Let's rule out Blade before we go full Twilight. But she stopped laughing when the blood work came back. Your hemoglobin spiked, she whispered, holding the paper like it might bite her. Cells duplicating, inhuman patterns. This isn't pregnancy, Nia. Number, it was something older, hungrier. She started documenting everything. Alone, late, confidential memo. Ava dictated into her recorder. Subject, Nia Carter, 32. Pregnant under abnormal conditions following a blind date with man identified as Lucien Vale. Symptoms suggest gestation of non-human hybrid, possibly vampiric. She exhaled smoke like punctuation. This story's gonna make me rich, or get me buried. You went back to Lucien's place. It was hollow now, ash where warmth had been. Blood dried on the fireplace stone like memory that wouldn't scrub out. And then, he stepped from the shadows. Not Lucien, another man. You shouldn't be here, he said, voice like boot leather and bullet casings. Who are you? The janitor. Lucien broke a vow. What you're carrying is a violation of something sacred, ancient. Every vampire on this coast wants it dead. Or worse, born. You clenched your fists. Rage was better than fear. He didn't tell me. Doesn't matter. Pick a side, mother or martyr. I am. Later, the rooftop. Wind made ghosts out of your hair. Ava was shaking, hands in her pockets, eyes on every shadow that didn't move right. We gotta go, she hissed. Tall guys in black, no shadows, no reflections. You showed her the ring, still on your finger, still burning when near mirrors. The baby moves when I'm bleeding, you whispered. This isn't just a pregnancy. It's a revolution. I am. In her apartment, Ava taped Polaroids to corkboard with shaking hands. Old news photos. 1,922. 1,959. 2010. Lucien. Always Lucien. Always the same. He's not hiding, she muttered. He's thriving. And, across the street, boots hit gravel. A scope glinted. Target alive, Damien said into his comms. Pregnant. Ring is active. Do I terminate? A voice, cold and static warped, answered. Number. Let the humans see what happens when bloodlines break vows. Let them all burn. Chapter 2. The Ring. And close. Some objects bind. Some possess. This one? It remembers. Silver, warm as skin. The ruby pulses when she dreams. And lately, it dreams back. And close. Nia's apartment, night. Fan spinning, city humming outside the window. The air feels like it's holding its breath. She stands in the bathroom, staring into the mirror. No, not staring searching. Your skin looks paler now. Not sick sharper. The kind of pale that makes people whisper about your lineage. And your eyes? They aren't yours anymore. Nia whispering. Why can't I take it off? You yank at the ring again. Flesh scorches. Smoke curls up like incense. It hisses in Latin. You don't know Latin, but the baby does. And close, in dreamscape. Blood-red hallway. You walk barefoot through an old hallway. The walls breathe. The chandeliers drip something dark. She's asleep or something like it. Floating inside a dream stitched from Lucien's memories. You see him on a battlefield, sword black with age. He doesn't kill out of fear. He kills because he's supposed to. A king whispers. A priest burns. A woman begs. And Lucien watches all of it like it's weather. Voice echoing ancient. The child will end one bloodline and begin another. And close. Ava's apartment, day. Coffee cold. Gun under the pillow. News on mute. Ava pacing, dialing. Dr. Hollis. Yeah, I need you to look at something. Something evolving. She scans the blood slides again. Red cells moving like wolves. Sharp. Organized. Territorial. Ava to herself. This ain't a baby. It's a declaration of war. And close. Morgue, night. Fluorescence buzz. A drawer rolls out. Toe tag reads. Unknown male. Exsanguination. Damien lifts the sheet. Lucien's face. Only, it isn't Lucien. It's another one. Third this week. Same eyes. Same cheekbones. Same insignia carved on the chest. Damien, quietly. They're sending copies. Or cousins. He dials a number. The line clicks once. Then silence. Damien. The ring chose her. We're past diplomacy. And close. Nia's apartment, late night. Rain taps glass like it's trying to get in. Lightning flashes. The room smells like metal and roses. You wake up gasping. The mirror across the room is cracked. Your reflection's still sleeping. Nia whispers, terrified. I saw you. In my head. I saw what you did. Voice inside her. You're mine now, mother. The baby speaks without sound. And it's not a baby. Not exactly. It's a contract. Signed in flesh. And you already cashed it. And close. Church ruins dusk. Gargoyles crumbled. Moonlight bleeding through broken stained glass. A hooded figure kneels where the altar used to be. Ava watches from behind a stone column, recording. Hooded woman chanting. Veil. Il sangre corda, il sangre spond. Translation. The blood remembers. The blood answers. She lifts a knife, slices her palm. The blood slithers toward the sigil in the floor, like it knows where to go. Then, the figure turns eyes glowing, lips black. It's Lucien's sister, or lover, or both. Woman smiling. Tell the journalist the womb is a weapon. And close. Rooftop, rain pouring, Nia and Damien. Damien, arms crossed. Lucien didn't break a law. He broke an oath. And he gave you a ring that answers to blood. That child, it's not human. It's a bloodlock. Nia, wet, furious. Then why do I feel love? Real. Terrible. Love. Damien. Because it wants you to. That thing in you knows what love costs. And it plans to spend it. And close. Nia's bedroom moments later. She stares into the cracked mirror again. The baby moves. Her stomach pulses outward like something inside just stretched its claws. The ring glows. Her nose bleeds. And her reflection? It finally opens its eyes. Reflection. Voice calm. Terrifying. They're coming, Nia. Pick a side. End close. Narrate over, fade to black. You thought the worst part was the night he left. You were wrong. The worst part is what's waking up inside you now. Chapter 3, The Thing with Fangs. If you've made it this far, you already know too much. The stories they bury don't die. They crawl, they feed, and now one of them is growing inside me. In Tinia's apartment, night. You don't sleep anymore. Not the kind of sleep that forgives. You lie there fetal, full of fury, and listen to your body betray you. The baby kicks again. Not soft, not human. It shifts like something caged and intelligent. You whisper to your stomach. NIA whispers, I'm sorry, I didn't ask for this either. You think of Lucian's eyes. Not warm, not cruel, just old. He knew. In subway platform. Night. AVA's voice on speakerphone crackles like a prophecy. AVA. Vo. Urgent. There's movement. Damien's off grid. Someone tailed me from the hospital. I saw one of them. White eyes. Mouth stitched shut. You gotta get out. And you do. Platform. Rain. Your reflection in a shattered vending machine. You're starting to fade at the edges. Like you're not just carrying something unnatural. You're becoming it. In church basement, night. He waits for you here. Damien. Leaning against the altar, like he doesn't believe in anything except bullets and bloodlines. He tosses you a flask. Holy water. Probably. Damien. They're tracking you. Not through satellites. Through scent. You're marked. You hold your stomach. Afraid to ask the obvious. Nia. What is it? The baby? Damien. Not a baby. Not yet. They call it the spark. First of its kind. Born of blood and choice. If it lives, it changes everything. Nia. Changes what? Damien. Grim. Power. Law. Who burns and who doesn't. Extemized abandoned hospital later that night. Ava picks the lock. She's shaking. You shouldn't be here. But there are files inside. Old blood tests. Black bag documents tagged Valiant and Ember Code. The place smells like dust and dried rot. But deeper inside, the lights work. Flicker on as if something's been waiting for you. Int file room. Continuous. Ava finds it. An ultrasound. Not from her hospital. From 2001. Ava. This isn't the first time, Nia. Lucian's done this before. 3 women. Same ring, same symptoms. You feel your throat close. Nia. What happened to them? Ava. They didn't make it to term. Then a low hiss. The lights die. And in the doorway, something tall and wrong and stitched at the mouth moves toward you. Blackout. Unknown entity. VA Jock E. Rasping, female. She belongs to the dark now. Int, parked car, night, moments later. You're gasping, covered in blood. Not yours, not Ava's. It dissolved when you touched it, like the air refused to remember what it was. You look at your reflection in the rearview mirror. Your pupils are too wide. The ruby ring glows without light. And inside you, the thing smiles. Chapter 4, Glass in the Blood. A Crimson Vows audiobook. You never expected the city to feel colder. Not after everything. But somehow it did. Not because of the weather, because of the weight. Int basement morgue, night. Metal drawers, hum of old fluorescent lights. The smell of ammonia and old blood clinging to the walls like regret. Nia VO. They brought in a Jane Doe, mauled. Torn open like a warning. Except, no blood. Not a drop. You hover over her, latex gloves slick. The flesh is pale, drained. Like yours used to be before Lucian. Before the ring. Nia VO. I didn't need the lab. I could feel it. She was like me. In newsroom, Ava's office, night. Stacks of papers. Red string on corkboard. Her fingers tremble over her keyboard. Ava. Third body this week. All women. All young. All with a ring-shaped burn on their finger. It's a signature. And it ain't subtle. She clicks open a grainy photo. Lucien. Again. Always Lucien. Ava, softly. You're either hiding from him or running straight back into his arms. Xting. Cathedral District. Night. You wait in the shadow of a crumbling church. Moonlight cuts across stained glass windows cracked by time and something older. You hear his voice before you see him. Damien. Damien off screen. You still think this ends with answers? It ends with fire. He steps into the light, eyes colder than a loaded gun. Damien, the council knows. They're mobilizing. They don't care if you're innocent. Nia, why not? I didn't choose this. Damien, because it's not about choice. It's about bloodlines. Flashback, Lucien's apartment. Memory, soft hands, lips like ice and silk. You remember him whispering against your neck. Lucien whispered, "What we make will shift the balance. You're more than mother now, Nia. You're prophecy." Int. Hospital. Night. Ava steals into the lab, flashlight beam bouncing. She pulls your file from a locked cabinet. X-rays. Ultrasound. Blood work. Ava VO. Heartbeat too fast. Amniotic fluid crystallizing. Cells dividing, like they're not just growing a child, they're building a weapon. Extend abandoned station, rooftop, night. Rain falls sideways. You stand above the city, ring pulsing like it hears your thoughts. You speak aloud not to anyone around you, but to something inside. Nia, you're not a curse. You're mine. And I'll burn down this whole blood-soaked world before I let them take you. Int private elevator, council tower, night. A red-eyed figure in a velvet suit descends, fingers clasped in prayer. Unknown vampire elder. The vessel has chosen defiance. Prepare the siphon. It's time we reclaim our legacy, child and all. Cut to black. A sudden sharp sound. A whisper under breath. Footsteps approaching. Narrator. Low. Every heartbeat draws her closer. Not to safety, but to war. Chapter 5. The Ring Knows. A Crimson Vows audiobook. You tried to sleep. God, you tried. But the ring hummed against your skin like it had a pulse. No, not a pulse. A will. In Tinia's bedroom, night. A thunderstorm cracks outside the window. Flash of lightning. The reflection in the mirror isn't yours. Not exactly. Nia VO. It moves when I bleed. It dreams when I close my eyes. And now, it talks. The ring glows. A faint whisper rises not from the outside world, but from inside your bones. Ring, faint female voice, layered, haunting. They will come for you, but they cannot hold what belongs to the first mother. You jolt awake an ached breath, palms sweating. Beneath your ribs, the child kicks one. Hard. Int Ava's car, moving. Night. Ava drives like hell is on her heels. The glove compartment's open. A revolver. Holy water. Crucifix carved from bone. AVA, muttering. I'm not even Catholic. She checks the mirror. The black SUV's still there. No headlights. Just presence. Ava VO. I knew chasing this story would get messy. I didn't expect to become part of the body count. Extend flea market parking lot, night. You and Ava meet beneath a flickering street lamp. You hand her the ultrasound. She stares at it like it's a crime scene photo. Ava. Where's the spine? Where's the heart? Nia. It doesn't have one. Not yet. The ring flares red. A dog in the distance starts barking, then whimpering, then silence. Int Council Tower, Chamber of Vows. A ring of ancient vampires. Velvet robes. White fire in stone bowls. Damien kneels before them, wounded but unbroken. Vampire Elder. The hybrid has bonded. She cannot be terminated, not without invoking the breach. Damien. Then tell me what I can do. Vampire Elder. Break the bond. Make her bleed by choice. Make her want it gone. Damien lowers his head and says nothing. Int apartment, Bathroom, night. You stare at yourself in the mirror. The ring pulses. The baby stirs. Nia VO. It's growing too fast. But so am I. You blink. Your pupils are wrong. Wide. Red. Reflecting back secrets you haven't lived yet. Extine. Underground rail tunnel. Night. A hidden enclave. A rebel vampire faction. Half-bloods. Outcasts. The ones who survive by hiding under the city's skin. Their leader? A woman in a tattered nurse's coat and a machete on her back. Silva. If you're carrying what I think you are, you're either the end of the world, or its restart button. You breathe deep. The air is thick with silver dust and prophecy. Nia. I'm not afraid anymore. Silva grinning. You should be. The ring knows everything, including how this ends. Chapter 6. The eclipse inside her. Rain bruised the windows of Ava's apartment like it wanted in. Outside, the city was a smear of red brake lights and sleepless neon. Inside, silence except for the metronome tick of the kitchen clock and the breathless tension humming between two women who used to know what the rules were. Nia lay on the couch, eyes fluttering beneath their lids, like wings caught in a dream too heavy to escape. She stands in an ancient chamberstone walls carved with runes older than language. Above her, a blood-red eclipse, pulsing like a wounded eye. The world has gone quiet. Even the stars dare not speak. Rows of cloaked vampires kneel before her, not her, but the infant in her arms. Its eyes open black and endless. They bow deeper. One rises and tries to speak, but his head combusts into ash before a single word can escape. She doesn't flinch. She knows them. Every face, every sin, every vow they broke to keep themselves alive. She wakes, gasping, hand clenched to her chest. But it's not her hand anymore. Not just her hand. The scar from yesterday, gone. Not faded, gone. Smooth like marble. Not a mark, not a pain. Like the bullet had never loved her body. Ava entered with 2 mugs and too many questions. She doesn't like quiet, doesn't trust it. It makes room for truth. You want peppermint or the sad brown one labeled Focus Tea? She sets the mugs down and opens her laptop. Her hand slips. The mug crashes. Glass, blood, sliced palm. Damneth, hold on, I'll get the... But Nia was already there. Her fingers pressed over Ava's hand like she'd done it before. And she had. 1,000 times. In another life. Only this time, the blood didn't just stop. It crawled back into Ava's veins. The skin stitched itself. The pain fled. Ava stared at her palm, then at Nia, then back at her palm. You healed me. Nia looked down, shaken. Her breath came in shallow pulls. I didn't mean to. You didn't try to, Ava said slowly. You are. Silence again. That same kind, the kind that falls before thunder. You're not mutating, Ava whispered, voice low, reverent, terrified. You're ascending. Back in the shadows of the hallway, Damien stood listening, unseen, unbreathing. He turned away from the door, whispering to no one. She doesn't need the ritual anymore. A pause. The other voice returned barely human. Then she needs a choice. He stepped into the night, vanishing with the wind, because the girl he'd tried to stabilize was no longer a risk. She was a reckoning, and every bloodline, every broken promise was about to feel her coming. Chapter 7. A War Council in Shadows. Ava's apartment was no longer safe. The moment Nia bent light around herself in the mirror disappeared for a blink that felt like forever they knew they had to run. By morning, they were holed up in an abandoned observatory just outside the city. Dust-covered stars hung above them. The cracked dome opened to the sky like a wound that never healed. Damien was already there, sharpening a dagger that looked like it remembered wars no one talked about anymore. You came, he said without looking up. I didn't have a choice, Nia replied. He glanced at her hand. The one that had healed Ava. The one glowing faintly in the dark like moonlight through flesh. No, Damien said. You did. You just made the right one. They weren't alone. One by one, the room filled with the uninvited. First came the twins from Belarusvale, and silent eyes ringed in crimson. Born of frost and feeding grounds, they bowed to no throne, until now. Then the priest from Veracruz, robes soaked in salt, a vial of consecrated blood swinging from his neck. He smelled like fire and old decisions. Last was, Imaniche walked in wearing no shoes, no fear, and a sword on her back carved from bone. "Cute place," she said. "Is this where the world ends, or just where you start killing gods?" Nia didn't answer. She couldn't, because suddenly every ancient in that room was looking at her, through her, and not as prey. As prophecy, Damien unrolled a map hand, drawn, charred at the corners, inked in blood and bone dust. "These are the strongholds," he said. "Old ones, elders, blood lords, half of them want you dead." "And the other half?" Ava asked. "They'll want the child." Nia gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. "She's not a child," she said. "She's a weapon." The priest coughed. "Or a key." "To what?" He smiled, teeth filed. "To whatever's buried beneath us." The wind howled through the shattered observatory glass. The sky rumbled low, like something big was turning in its sleep. Imani looked at Nia and said, "You don't get to walk away from this. You've been chosen." Nia met her eyes. "No," she said, "I was made." They began to chant. Not words, not spells. Names. The old ones. The forbidden ones. A roll call of the damned and the divine. Nia felt it stir inside her. A warmth, a pressure. Something waking up in her blood. A whisper behind her ear. But inside her mind, "They remember you." And then the candles blew out all at once. The twins turned their heads. A shape moved through the doorway fluid. Tall, eyes glowing silver. Lucian Vale. "Forgive the intrusion," he said, "but I hear I missed a meeting." Chapter 8. Hunt the Heretic. A cheap motel off Route 9. Smelled like bleach and forgotten lives. The sign outside blinked no vacancy even though no one else was here. It buzzed like a dying fly. You sat on the edge of the bed, one hand on your stomach, the other gripping the silver ring that refused to come off. Ava paced shotgun in her arms like she knew how to use it. Damien didn't believe she did. He was wrong. Damien sat by the door, cleaning a blade that looked older than guilt. It vibrated faintly every time you breathed. "You sure about this place?" Ava asked for the third time. "No one's sure about anything anymore," Damien said without looking up. "You wanted to speak. Wanted to say I feel it coming, but the air was already saying it for you. Thicker than fear. Colder than hate." Then, the power died. Not with a bang. Just a hum that fell quiet. And the dark took over. Outside, they came. Not with engines or footsteps. They just appeared. 6 shadows, slick with night. Cloaked, bone-white masks like skulls dipped in wax. They didn't knock. The motel door melted inward like wax under a sun that didn't exist. Damien stood. The blade hummed louder. "They found us," he said. "You didn't scream. You remembered screaming. You think your mouth was open." But time had already cracked in half. One of them moved lightning quick, grabbing Ava by the throat. She pulled the trigger, missed, then got slammed into the wall. Another chanted low blood words curling around your womb like icy vines. You dropped to your knees. And that's when your body decided for you. Your pulse slowed. The world bent. Light pulled in like breath. Your scream was a pulse, not sound. Not magic, but blood pressure turned kinetic. The motel exploded outward in a red shockwave. Glass, plaster, screams. Bone masks cracked like eggshells. Damien's blade flipped from his hand, stuck in the ceiling. Ava, coughing, crawled toward you through the wreckage. You stood. No wounds. No shaking. The one who chanted staggered back, mask shattered, one red eye exposed. "She's awake," he hissed. "The prophecy's unfolding faster than we feared." And then he vanished into smoke and ash, taking what remained of his squad with him. Silence returned. Just the buzz of a dying light overhead, trying to come back. Just Ava, on the floor, breathing like she'd drowned and come back. She looked at you. You didn't just defend yourself, she whispered. You hunted them. Your stomach moved not like a kick, like something inside you was watching now. You looked down at your hands, still glowing faint red, still steady. Not human, not victim, not prey. You were born. Now, you were becoming. Chapter 9. Bloodlines Betrayed. The warehouse was empty, Damien said. Safe, forgotten, off the grid. He was wrong. You felt it the moment your boots hit the concrete. The way your shadow didn't follow you in. The way the dust whispered your name when no one spoke. They had been here. No, they were here. You lit the flashlight. The beam caught old crates, rusted hooks, and symbols drawn in dried blood, not paint along every steel beam. Ava called it a trap. Damien called it history. You called it home. Even though you'd never been here before, your bones remembered. Damien unlocked a steel locker hidden beneath a false floor. Inside, parchment scrolls, 2 blood-stained daggers, and a family crest carved into obsidian. This belonged to them, he muttered. Your bloodline. My bloodline? You asked? He didn't answer, but the scroll did. You unrolled it. Latin, Aramaic, something older. Drawings. A sigil burned into a fetus. A woman on fire, cradling the child. A royal court of vampires bowing, and then bleeding. You touched the page. Your nose bled instantly. The scroll hissed, then turned to ash. That's when the wall shattered behind you. An a creature reached through. Ash-gray flesh, gold rings on 6 fingers. A priest's robe dipped in tar and teeth. Damien lunged. Ava fired twice. Didn't matter. It tossed Damien across the warehouse like a prayer gone wrong. It grabbed Ava's gun, crushed it like paper. And then it turned to you. Not to kill, to kneel. I serve the line of veil, it rasped. I was bound to protect the heir. You didn't know what that meant. Not yet. But then it opened its chest, slit it wide with one claw, and inside was a second heart. Still beating. Still human. You must take it, it said. For the right. For power. For war. You backed away. You weren't hungry. Not like that. But your child? Was. Your hand moved on instinct. You reached out. And before you could think, your fingers sank into the warm cavity. Damien shouted. Ava screamed. Too late. The blood rushed through you like a second soul trying to wear your skin. Your eyes glowed. Not red. White. And in that moment, you remembered everything. Lucien. The order. The betrayal. Your birth centuries ago and your death that never held. Your voice changed when you spoke again. I am not a vessel, you said. I am the return. And then the creature collapsed. Dust in your hand. Its heart still beating, now inside you. Outside, the city stirred. Lights flickered. Sirens paused. The Eclipse Order had felt your awakening. And they were coming. Chapter 10. The Order Awakes. The city should have been asleep. Midnight. Raining. Sirens muted beneath the hum of neon and wet concrete. But the sky, it wasn't right. Somewhere above the skyline, something pulsed behind the clouds. A rhythmic flicker, like the heartbeat of a god cracking through heaven's walls. And below it, they moved. Black robes, gold trim, sigils stitched into silk like warnings. The Eclipse Order had arrived. Damien saw them first. He crouched behind the barricade of burned-out cars, rifle steady, breath shallow. They don't knock, he said. They erase. Next to him, Ava loaded rounds, dipped in silver and salt. I thought this was just a cult, she muttered. It was, Damien replied, until she woke up. You were already waiting, eyes glowing faint white beneath your hood. The heartbeat you took in Chapter 9, now pulsing at your core like a second drumline. The warehouse ruins behind you were nothing now, ash and wind. This would be your first real test. You felt your child stir, not scared, excited. They came down the street in formation, 12 of them, 11 silent, 1 chanting. His voice shook the streetlights. Windows cracked in their frames. They weren't speaking English. They were speaking law. Old law. Blood law. They raised their hands in unison. The leader stepped forward, his face hidden, his aura wrong, like time couldn't hold him steady. "We offer you surrender," he said, voice layered and ancient. "Return the unborn. Renounce the right. Submit." You didn't flinch. Ava raised her gun. Damien held his breath. You just stepped forward. "I'm not carrying a curse," you said. "I'm carrying justice." The ground split. Not from them. From you. Cracks webbed beneath your feet, glowing with the same white fire behind your eyes. The order staggered. Their chant faltered. And then you moved. No one taught you to fight. But you remembered. A hand raised, 2 of them flew back, spines snapping midair. A glance and Ava's bullets bent in flight, ripping through 3 more like whispers dipped in steel. Damien threw a dagger. You caught it mid-spin, threw it back. It found a throat before the priest could breathe another syllable. Only one was left. The leader. Still unmoved, his hood fell back. It was a face you knew. One from your dream. From the scroll. A vampire who shouldn't be breathing. One who knelt to your bloodline, then betrayed it. "Hello, my child," he said with a smile that tasted like ruin. "I knew you'd survive." You didn't ask how he was alive. You asked why. But he didn't answer. He just raised a vial of something blacker than ink and shattered it on the pavement. And from it rose her. Not a vampire, not human. Something in between. She didn't speak. She just lunged straight for your chest, straight for the second heart. And this time, you weren't fast enough. She pierced your skin. Your body locked. Ava screamed. Damien drew his last blade. But you? You didn't fall. You smiled. Because the child inside you fought back. Chapter 11. Her blood, their chains. The cut should have killed you. That thing, whatever it was, had driven bone into your chest like it was opening a lock. And for a second, just a second, you let it. Because you weren't afraid anymore. Because the child inside you wasn't hiding. It was waiting. Then came the scream. Not yours. Hers. The creature recoiled, smoke pouring from her mouth, her hands searing where they touched you. She tried to pull away. She couldn't. Your blood burned her. Your blood owned her. Damien lunged from the side, blade drawn, slicing her back open in a cross she couldn't heal from. She dropped, shrieking, melting into ash and teeth before she hit the pavement. You didn't move. Couldn't. Not until Ava shouted, "Nia!" You turned. And that's when the traitor, the man who called himself your father, smiled again. "You're more than I hoped," he said, "and far more dangerous." He raised one hand. The street cracked open. And from below they came. Dozens, hundreds, pale, eyeless, crawling in silence. The forgotten those turned, then sealed away centuries ago. Creatures too broken for daylight, too loyal for mercy. And they were all crawling toward you. You should have run, but your body didn't. It knelt, not in fear, in instinct. The second heart in your chest began to beat harder. The ring on your finger glowed crimson. And you said something. You didn't know the language, but it spoke through you. A single word. Low. Final. And every one of the forgotten froze. The traitor's smile vanished. You shouldn't know that word. I didn't, you said, but she does. He tried to speak again, but this time, you screamed, and they turned. Every forgotten once bound to him now crawled toward him instead. Faster, hungrier. He ran. He had to. He disappeared into the night, his own past chasing him down like dogs off leash. Silence. Again. Damien leaned against the wall, bleeding from the side. Ava sat on the pavement, breathless, shotgun across her lap. You just stood there. Then you said it half to them, half to the wind. If they're coming for me. You looked down at your blood-stained hands. Then let them bring everything. Chapter 12. the one who watches. They didn't sleep that night. Not Ava, not Damien, not you. Not after what your blood did, not after what you said. At a gas station on the edge of nowhere, Ava filled the tank while Damien paced with a blade in one hand and a limp cigarette in the other. It wasn't lit. He didn't need it, just needed something to keep the shaking off. You sat in the back seat of a stolen SUV, staring into your reflection in the rearview mirror. But it wasn't you looking back. It was her, the child, the weapon, the thing growing stronger with every hour. Not a monster, not a savior. Something else, something ancient. And that's when everything went quiet. No cars, no night bugs, no distant highway hum. You stepped out of the car just as Ava slammed the gas cap shut. "You hear that?" she said. Damien was already turning. Then a buzzing, low and hot, like it came from inside your bones. The parking lot lights flickered. One pop. Then she appeared. Not a vampire. Not forgotten. Not the order. Her. No name. No sound. Just a woman in a red cloak and white eyes, barefoot, floating 6 inches above the pavement. She held no weapon. She didn't need one. Ava lifted her gun. Damien stepped forward. You held up a hand. "No," you said, "she's not here to fight." The woman blinked. And then, for the first time since your transformation began, you felt cold. True cold. Ancient cold. She raised one arm. A symbol burned into the air between you, a watching eye, ringed in thorns. And just as quickly, she was gone. You collapsed. Your head hit concrete, Ava screamed. Damien cursed. But inside your mind, you fell into the red. A vision. A memory. Not yours. Hers. A stone chamber. A circle of robed vampires. Heads bowed to a throne made of bone and black glass. On it sat a woman. Your face. But older. Harder. She raised a child. Your child. And the room trembled when it opened its eyes. The eye of the watcher. The eye from the air. Then a voice. "We see you, Bloodborne. And now, the world will too." You gasped awake. Damien had you propped against the SUV. Ava was splashing water on your face. You grabbed Ava's wrist. "I saw them," you whispered. "Who?" she asked. You looked past her, into the dark, into the empty sky. The ones who've been watching since before vampires bled. Chapter 13. Ashes of the First Mother. The door didn't creak. It breathed. A slow exhale of air that hadn't moved in centuries. You stepped through anyway. Below the dead church, stone stairs spiraled like a spine. Each step whispered memories into your ears, none of them yours. Ava stayed close, shotgun across her chest, trying to hide her fear behind sarcasm. Damien didn't speak, but he clutched his knife like it was the only thing older than this place. At the bottom, a vault of obsidian. Circular walls, scorched black. Charcoal veins ran through the stone, pulsing faint red. There was no light source. The room itself was glowing. In the center, a coffin, sealed in dark glass and old blood. Beside it, a pile of ash, shaped like a woman in prayer. And at your feet, a journal, bound in leather that wasn't from any animal. You didn't ask what it was. You already knew. You picked it up. It was warm, etched across the first page in carved script. "I was the first to bleed." You turned the pages. They weren't written, they were cut. Letters gouged into flesh-like parchment. The story of the first mother. How she bore the first hybrid. How the orders betrayed her. How she was burned in this room, holding her child, never screaming, only whispering one word into the fire. Return. Ava hovered behind you, silent. Damien circled the coffin, blade out, watching the ash. You kept reading. And then, a prophecy. Final. Unmistakable. She will rise from the lineage of betrayal. Her womb will hold the second heart. Her voice will wake the slumbering. And her blood will be the key. Your hand shook. The ring on your finger pulsed. And the ashes on the floor began to shift. First slow, then violent. The prayer form twisted, uncoiling, lifting into the air. A scream formed in your throat never left your lips, because the coffin cracked, a low, rhythmic thud. Heartbeat, still alive, still beating. Inside the sealed tomb, through the obsidian glass you saw her, a face like yours, but older, weathered by time and betrayal, eyes closed, lips parted like she was mid-sentence. She wasn't dead. She was waiting. Damien grabbed you by the shoulder, pulled you back. "This is wrong," he whispered. "This room, it's not a tomb. It's a trigger." But you were already moving. The ashes coiled toward you like smoke with memory. And when they touched your skin, you saw everything. The first mother screaming, the flames refusing to kill her, the blade buried in her by someone she loved, the moment her child was taken, and her final breath a curse that never faded. A voice entered your mind. Not your child's, hers. "Daughter, the gate opens, and blood is the key." Your eyes snapped open, and in front of you, the coffin was now wide open, empty. But you were not alone. Behind you, she stood, the first mother, breathing. Chapter 14, She Who Burned and Rose. The first mother stood barefoot in the ash she left behind. No scream, no warning, just presence pure and full. The room didn't get colder. It bent. Like gravity forgot the rules when she opened her eyes. She didn't blink, didn't breathe like mortals do, but she moved like time obeyed her step. Ava raised the shotgun. Damien pulled his blade. You raised nothing. You just listened, because the thing standing in front of you looked like you, not in shape or age, in origin. Your bones knew her. Your blood knelt. She looked at you, eyes black with memory. Her voice broke the air like a law being passed. "The orders thought I died. But fire does not destroy truth. It tempers it." You opened your mouth. No words came out. She stepped closer. Not hostile. Not safe. Just inevitable. Ava whispered behind you, "This isn't real." But she was wrong. Because the first mother reached out and touched your face. And in that moment, you saw everything. The betrayal. Lucien wasn't just your lover. He was her weapon. One sent across centuries. Designed, altered, bound to a mission, pass on the bloodline, seal the next gate, create you. But he disobeyed. He loved you, and that was his failure. She pulled her hand back. "You are the second bell," she said, "the one who will unmake what they built." You blinked. "What do you mean, unmake?" The first mother stepped aside, and behind Hera's second vault, sealed, locked in red steel, a door shaped like a rib cage. Damien cursed under his breath. "That's not in any map." She looked at him then, at Ava, and spoke directly into your soul. Your guardians were never meant to survive the turning. But they clung. Now they must choose. Ava stepped back. "Oh, hell no." Damien stood still, silent, eyes lowered. "And you?" You walked forward, because behind that ribcage door, something waited. A memory not yours. A truth not told. A price not paid. The first mother whispered as you placed your hand on the lock. "You are not becoming. You've already become." And the door screamed open. Inside, a throne, made of teeth, and waiting for you. Chapter 15, Throne of Teeth. You should have run. Everything in your human brain told you so. But you weren't just human anymore. And that throne, it wasn't made for mortals. The chamber inside the ribcage door was small, cramped, carved from black stone and sealed with bone mortar. Symbols etched into every inch of the walls, prayers, curses, contracts. And at the center of it all, the throne. Polished from thousands of molars, incisors, canines not placed, but grown. Each fang pointed in, toward whoever sat on it. Ava stayed outside. "I'm not stepping into a room full of cursed dental work," she said. Damien didn't move either. He just stood like a gargoyle at the threshold, eyes narrowed. But you crossed the line, and the moment your foot touched the floor, you felt it. The hum, the pull, the memory of generations crashing into your blood. The first mother stood in the shadows. "Sit," she said. You did. And the throne welcomed you. Not softly, not gently. It bit you, not to wound to know you. The ring on your finger flared. Your vision blurred. Then came the flood. You saw Lucian again, but not the one you kissed. Not the one who left you a ring and a child. This Lucian was older, unforgiving, standing in a war room lit by fire and betrayal. He held a dagger above another woman, her eyes wide, pleading. "She looked like you, but wasn't you?" He whispered. "I'm sorry, the bloodline must break to be reborn." And then he drove the blade down. You gasped, back in the throne, bleeding from your palms. But await, the first mother stepped forward. "Now you know," she said. "He was never yours, he was mine." You didn't cry, didn't speak. You burned. The child inside you stirred, and you both felt it, the memory of betrayal turning to fury. Outside the chamber, the earth shook. Ava screamed something you couldn't hear. Damien ran inside. "The order found us," he shouted. "We've got seconds." But the throne had other plans. It wouldn't let you stand. It pulled you deeper, into the floor, into the bones of the world. And in the final moment before the stones swallowed you whole, you heard the first mother whisper, "It's time to wake the others." Chapter 16, The Waking Below. You didn't fall. You descended, through the roots of the dead church, through marrow and ruin, past the graves of things the world had forgotten on purpose. The throne didn't release you. It guided you, lower and lower, until the air was thick with silence, so loud it sounded like screaming. You don't remember hitting the bottom, only the pulse. That deep, seismic hum like something enormous was asleep beneath your skin. Then, a breath. Not yours. You opened your eyes, and the world was sideways. The floor was bone, the walls flesh and fossil. You weren't in a tomb. You were in a womb, carved from the earth before churches, before vampires, before even the Watchers. And there, in a half circle around you, cocoons, 7 of them, each one pulsing softly, tall, towering, bound in blood silk and calcified ribs. You stepped forward. You didn't mean to, but something in you, maybe the child, maybe the throne called them. A whisper slithered through the air like steam over broken glass. The second bell tolls. Another voice echoed behind it. The sealed ones stir. And then, a third. And the night children remember fire. You reached toward the closest cocoon, and the moment your fingers brushed the surface, you saw them all, in a flash, like 1,000 years compressed into a heartbeat. The originals. Not vampires, not humans. The first children. Eyes like stars caught in mud. Limbs that didn't match. Tongues that spoke blood into existence. Each one locked away after the first mother fell. Too dangerous. Too sacred. Too uncontrollable. And now you'd found them. Now you'd woken them. Back above, the church cracked open. The Eclipse Order had returned this time with soldiers, blades, and chains etched in angelic script. Damien fought on the steps. Ava screamed your name into the void. But it was too late, because below, one cocoon burst open, and from inside stepped a creature wrapped in ash and bone. It looked at you. Then it knelt, and whispered, "Daughter of fire, what is your will?" Chapter 17, The Ashborn. It knelt. This being, cracked from a cocoon of ancient blood and calcified vows, knelt to you without question. You didn't speak. You couldn't. Because something in your chest, your second heart was singing. A low guttural frequency. Not a song, not words. A command. And the Ashborn listened. You stepped closer. Its body looked humanoid. Barely. Limbs jointed in threes. Veins of silver running under translucent skin. A face that blurred if you stared too long. Eyes black with galaxies behind them. It reached out and gently touched your stomach. When its palm met the curve of your womb, it shuddered like lightning-kissed bone. Then it whispered, "The child is more than you. The child is the link. Behind you, another cocoon stirred. Then another, cracks forming like spiderwebs across their husks. The others were waking, not out of hunger, out of allegiance, and it was your blood that called them. Above ground, the war had started. The Eclipse Order had breached the chapel. Ava and Damien fought like hell bullets, blades, borrowed time, but one slipped past. An Eclipse High Priest, gold-threaded robes, teeth filed to points, chanting in a tongue that shouldn't be spoken aloud. He came for the vault, came for you, and he found you, just as the seventh cocoon split in half, and something with a crown of teeth and shadow stepped into the circle. You turned. Your voice, ragged from silence and prophecy, spoke one word: stop. The priest froze mid-step, mid-breath, mid-spell. Then, he burst into flame, a slow ceremonial fire, white-hot, silent. The Ashborn around you did not cheer. They did not smile. They simply knelt again, because you'd spoken. And when you speak now, the world listens. From behind the circle, Ava's voice finally broke through the threshold. Nia. You turned just as she appeared, blood on her cheek, holding a shattered relic. She stared at you, at the Ashborn, the throne behind you. Your eyes. They weren't brown anymore. They were glowing red, ringed in silver. Ava whispered, horrified, "What the hell are you becoming?" And you answered, not with fear, not with hope, just truth. Exactly what they tried to stop. Chapter 18, The Wordless Crown. The Ashborn did not sleep. They stood around you in silent formation, guardians of a past that never died, just waited. Ava refused to step inside the ring. She hovered by the threshold, shotgun slack in her hands, her voice tight like a nerve about to snap. You're scaring me, Nia. You wanted to tell her it was still you. But it wasn't not all the way. The throne pulsed behind you, and when you turned, the bones had changed. No longer just teeth, but faces. Not screaming, smiling. Each one familiar. Each one a reflection of your bloodline's lies. Lucien, your mother. Someone who looked like you as a child. You blinked, and they were gone. Only the crown remained. A halo of black iron and fused vertebrae. It hovered above the throne like a warning, spinning in slow circles. The first mother reappeared, walking through the Ashborn like fog. She did not greet you. She did not look pleased. She only said, "They'll burn the city to salt if they know you've claimed it." Claimed what? You asked. She gestured to the ring, to the Ashborn, to the blood in your veins. The wordless crown. It wasn't just a title. It was an inheritance. Not of power, but of consequence. The moment you touched it, you would become more than heir. You would become judge. And the orders? They feared nothing more than a woman they couldn't control specially, one that bled prophecy. Ava stepped forward, daring a foot into the circle. "Don't touch that thing, Nia," she said. "Please, you're not like them. You're you." But the Ashborn were already kneeling, and your second heart had already decided. You reached up, and the crown did not fall. It descended, wrapped itself around your skull like it had been waiting for you since the first star screamed into existence. And in that moment, you heard everything. Every lie Lucien told, every plan the orders made, every scream your ancestors swallowed so you could survive. It wasn't clarity. It was power. And for the first time, you weren't afraid of it. Your eyes flicked open. Every Ashborn rose in unison. Ava stepped back, trembling, and you said nothing. You didn't need to anymore, because now, your blood spoke for you. If you made it this far, you already know, this story doesn't sleep, and neither do we. New chapters, every night, because darkness doesn't wait. Whisper Between Worlds uploads daily, so hit subscribe and let the blood pull you deeper. The next door opens at midnight. Don't be late.